we would speak with you about grief. Now, it is true that all of you at some point in your physical existence, and for many, several times in your physical existence, you will experience grief. Now, this may come as the loss of a loved one, or it may come as the loss of a talent, financials, a belief system, etc. There can be an innumerable number of reasons why one is thrown into grief. We would like to share with you that the repercussions of grief can be quite varied. Um, for example, for many of you, there are, of course, tears. For others, there are physical ramifications such as feeling ill or extremely tired or exhausted. Additionally, one may find oneself turning away from what one has been grieving about. For example, let us say you lose a pet dog. You may either want another dog immediately, or you may say, no, I will never ever have another dog, and you will find yourself turning away from dogs entirely for some time. Um, Also, many find parts of their lives changing in that they may experience changes in the way they experience time or joy or sexual fulfillment. These things may either have little meaning when one is in grief, or they may simply uh, not be a large part of one's life anymore. Now, depending upon the impact this grief has on one, these types of changes and influences may last only a short time, or they may last quite a long time, or they may come and go. We are sure that all of you who are listening to this have had some type of experience with grief. Mm, One of the odd, what we find to be odd, ramifications of grief is taking a belief that one has had for the majority of one's life and discounting it. For example, let us say that one has always been quite religious. Then one loses someone close to them. All of a sudden, they are not religious anymore. They no longer believe. We find this curious because during one's lifetime prior to the loss of one's loved one or loved thing or loved animal, there have been many things in one's lifetime that could be considered to be grief worthy, if we may use that term. In other words, there are wars, there are neighbors who have lost loved ones, etc. You will have experienced remotely pain and suffering, and not have lost your faith. But when it comes close to home, then your faith is highly disrupted, as if for some reason mm, it is only, uh, it must only pertain to you personally. Um, Again, we find this somewhat curious, as throughout one's lifetime, you will come within close proximity to the grief of others practically daily. You may find when experiencing grief that there are things you can no longer stand to look at. For example, if you find a particular type of cartoon to be quite funny after the loss, you may find it abhorrent. And your sense of humor has changed, if not dissolved entirely. Now, grief may prepare you for losses in other planes of existence. You may also find that sometimes you feel a sense of loss and you have nothing to relate it to. You say, well, my life is going fine. I've not lost anybody. I've not lost a job. I've not had any trauma. And yet I'm feeling this sense of emptiness, or my viewpoints have changed irrationally. This is because of what we sometimes call a bleed through. Sometimes we refer to it as communications with alternate selves, or other selves. So, for example, let us say you are fairly close in emotionally to a self that exists in your terms in the 1800s, say. And this self experiences a great loss. Now, because you are in a close proximity emotionally to this self, you will feel a portion of this loss, and you may not be able to explain it. Now, during times such as this, we suggest that you seek meditation. You seek to communicate with this self. Now, we say meditation, but there are many ways to do this. You may do what the shamans call journeying. You may seek out a Ouija board or a medium, or automatic writing, whatever it is that comes to you with trust. And this may assist you in discovering where this feeling of loss is coming from. You may also experience during a period of grieving a lack, a decrease in what is normally a natural talent for you. Or it may be exactly the opposite. So let us say you are a musician and you have a loss. Now, you may say, oh, I cannot produce music for some time because I am so lost in my grief. Or you may channel this grief into your music and indeed create something quite beautiful. Doing this will also help to release the grief that you are feeling because you are channeling it into another source. It may uh, lessen or decrease within you. Now, again, we wish to make it clear that the loss does not have to be the loss of a person, the loss of a loved one, a husband, a spouse, a sibling. It can be the loss of something that is, in your terms, alive, or it can be something as simple as the loss of a concept that somehow your beliefs have changed and you no longer feel the same as you once were because you are looking at things differently. Mm. So you have changed. You have lost the personality that you once had to some degree, and you may grieve for this personality. You may grieve for the you that once was. We find this can be quite strong in the elderly as they grieve for what they would term their lost youth. In times like this, one must look forward, one must say, well, I have lost my youth, but I have grown. I am wiser. I am more complete as a person. I am more aware of what is going on around me. You may choose to participate more in certain activities, and this will assist you in taking your grief and channeling it into something positive. Now, we don't believe that we have said anything here that is unknown to you or earth shattering, but we do feel that at the current time there is a great deal of grief in this physical reality. There are great losses of persons. There are great losses in terms of national identity. There are great losses in personal freedoms. There is a great deal going on. This is a challenging time for those of you in the physical, and it is not unusual for anyone to experience symptoms, if we will, of grief while the world, so to speak, sorts through these challenges and will come eventually to some form of reconciliation. There will be decisions made, and you will choose the path upon which you wish to follow, that which you wish to explore in greater depth. So, we leave you with this very short message, just to bring to your attention that the way that so many of you are feeling right now, the confusion, the pain, the changes in the way you may be acting, the way you may be eating, the way you may find that you can no longer tolerate certain things that you used to tolerate, that this is quite fine, quite normal, and that you can explore this without worry, that you have chosen your path, and you have many opportunities to look at what you have chosen in different terms. You can do so in dreams, you can do so in meditations, as we have said. You can even do so through such things as massage, yoga, tai chi, etc. Anything that will bring to the surface feelings that you may not wish to look at. To move past this type of grief, it is important that it be faced head on, so to speak. You must move through it. Now, how long this will take in your terms can be very short, or it can be very long, or as we have said previously, it may come in spurts. You may have a period of grief followed by what appears to be fairly normal, and then out of practically nowhere another period of grief. Don't worry about this. This is one way to work through these emotions. This is one way to open your chakras, and we would like to mention that again as another way to deal with grief, is to get your chakras spinning, to explore them, if you will. Because whenever you are in a great period of grief, your heart chakra, your throat chakra for many, will begin to close, to tighten, and your energy will not be flowing through you as easily, as readily, as purely as it does during periods of joy. Now, we feel this is all we wish to say at this point. Again, as always, if you have questions, let this one know, and we will answer those questions and perhaps go deeper into this topic. We wish you a fond good evening.